A second Cargill meat processing plant is shut down in Canada, this one near Montreal. 64 employees tested positive for COVID-19. A week ago, Cargill reopened its plant in High River, Alberta, which had the largest outbreak in the country. More than 900 workers there tested positive, and there's pressure on the American-owned company to explain why workers aren't being kept safe. Heather Yourex-West explains.
A month after an outbreak among hundreds of workers at Cargill's High River meat processing plant, the company is facing another outbreak and another shutdown.
The plant is about to close temporarily because, it's a preventive measure. We want to test all the employees.
The Chambly facility is the third Cargill-owned plant that we know of to be impacted by COVID-19. Its High River, Alberta facility closed in mid-April after an outbreak there made more than 900 workers sick. 2 workers have now died. There has also been an outbreak in a facility in Fort Morgan, Colorado. At least 56 workers have tested positive. 1 person has died, but that plant has never closed. The decision to close the Chambly, Quebec plant came after 64 workers tested positive.
I would say that right now Cargill wouldn't be on top of my list of companies that have managed COVID very well.
Cargill has faced criticism for failing to close the High River plant sooner before the outbreak there grew to become one of the largest in North America. An Alberta Occupational Health and Safety report also found the company excluded the union from an investigation into how the virus was allowed to spread. The company has been given more time to complete its investigation. But the Quebec facility is closing now, before a few dozen cases can become 100 or more.
The company will eventually be able to resume its activities after a certain period of confinement for those employees.
In a statement to Global News, Cargill says it's continually changing and improving how it responds to outbreaks in order to protect employees. Anyone required to take time off to isolate will be given up to 80 hours paid leave and will not be allowed back at work until they're symptom-free. Heather Yourex-West, Global News, Calgary.
The federal government is offering a new package to support big businesses struggling to survive. It's not described as a bailout. It's an emergency financing plan for companies and nonprofit organizations with annual revenue of $300 million or more. There are exceptions. Banks are not eligible, for example, nor are companies that pay their executives excessive salaries. But a whole range of companies could be eligible, from airlines to retailers to the oil and gas sector. There are some strings attached, strings that are as much about politics as business. Our chief political correspondent, David Akin, is here to explain. David.
That's right. It's called the Large Enterprise Emergency Finance Facility, LEEFF, LEAF. They've been working on it for a couple of weeks, and all the while, there's been a battle inside the Liberal caucus as to whether or not to help out the oil and gas sector. Some, led by Heritage Minister and Quebec MP Stephen Guilbeault, have argued it's time to let the fossil fuel industry die. But Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland and Finance Minister Bill Morneau have led the fight in Cabinet to provide more help for the energy sector. So with the LEAF, oil and gas firms will be able to access federal financing. That's important to Freeland and Morneau, but those firms will have to demonstrate commitment to some environment and climate change goals. And that's important to Guilbeault and his camp. And all corporations getting LEAF funding will also have to agree to restrictions on executive compensation, forego dividends and share buybacks, and agree to honor collective agreements and pensions. Now, those conditions are important as well to the NDP and the Bloc Québécois. And remember, this is a Liberal minority government, that its survival is going to depend on the help of a third party, Donna.
David, there's a lot of detail still to come. What's the early reaction, though, from businesses? Is there a willingness to take up this offer?
Well, the early reaction from corporate Canada is, okay, good start, but there's definitely more details needed, and there's going to be a transparency issue. Will taxpayers get to know the details of each loan arrangement with each firm? And all those firms, well, they're worried that those details are going to be disclosed. So that is going to be a barrier to take up, Donna.
All right, David Akin in Ottawa, thanks.
The new series that goes inside the COVID-19 pandemic, from the front lines to the everyday heroes helping us cope with the unprecedented change. Coronavirus, the new reality. A Global News special, Sundays at 7 on Global.